welcome back everybody to another update here on the Davyd and Bella channel on YouTube. My name is Davyd and of course this is
Bella. Hi.
So we've been doing these weekly updates now for the last couple of weeks, really in response to the overwhelming number of requests that we've had from people to assist them in these challenging times. We're calling this video Riders on the Storm, and that's really where we're at right now, as we just shared, Bella, in the recent edition of the Quantum Compass. This is the wave spell of the blue storm in the year of the cosmic storm. So the energies are kind of intense, right?
So the storm is upon us, as you have been experiencing, I'm sure, by just watching television, following the social media. We can see that the veils are coming down, and we're getting to see what many of us have been talking about for a long time, but the 90% or more of the population do not know or are in denial about it. So we're getting to see what has been going on behind the entertainment industry, behind the politicians, the amount of blackmailing that has been going on for decades. I'll say here for hundreds of years. It was smaller, but it went widespread with the thriller agencies and the movie industry, the entertainment industry, the banking. It's all connected to the same systems. They all support each other, and we're now seeing it out there, and it's something that you cannot see anymore.
Right, and it's all interconnected. That's the other thing. They might seem like separate issues. What Bella's just been talking about also has its own hierarchical tree. There are people who are puppets, and there are puppet masters, and then there are people who are grand puppet masters. And that's not necessarily the scope of this video, but when we start to see how widespread this really is, I think probably for many of you watching this video, you've already tapped into this world, which is probably why you're watching this video in the first place. But as we have just said, there are lots and lots and lots of people probably very close to us who have no clue about any of the things that we're alluding to. There are many things happening all at once. It seems that it has been decided by the higher dimensional forces and beings who are assisting here in this process that we need to bring the storm at once. It could be a little painful, a little messy, a little bumpy, but it's going to be over quite quickly, and then we can get into the healing space. Anyone who's ever sat in the medicine ceremony will know that there's a process to this, where stuff has to be brought up into our awareness. It has to then be purged and released. Then the real healing work can begin, and we can start to feel better. It's the same with any kind of sickness that needs to be got out. This is a collective sickness that has been given to us. I wouldn't necessarily say that any of us wanted it, but we all signed up to this process karmically and with our higher selves involved. So we are all here to participate in this, and particularly I think for those of you watching this video who've been called to our work over the last few years, and of course many other communities too, perhaps a little bit ahead of the curve, and we're being called to hold space now. We might still have work to do ourselves. Of course, there's always more karma to be looked at, more timelines to be fixed, but for most people that's way down the road for them. They're right now dealing with the immediacy, perhaps of physical, emotional symptoms that perhaps really getting them a bit out of shape.
Yeah, so it is right. It is a collective process. So even though they are exposing many people out there, it is part of the collective consciousness. So we're going to feel our emotional system disrupted, not sleeping well, bringing up situations maybe connected to those things that we haven't resolved maybe. So what I'm saying here is that we have to come to a point of grounding, compassion, empathy, because there are many victims as part of all of this corruption and horrible, what did you call it earlier? Vicious, you had a word for it. Anyway.
I've had lots of words for it.
Yeah,
I don't want to repeat all of them here on camera, but
yeah, the amount of abuse and sickening things that have been happening for a long time, and now many people, the majority of people, the masses are going to get to hear about.
It's systematic.
It's just going to affect so many people, their cognitive dissonance, their mental bodies, their emotional bodies. So people are going to be deeply affected, and all of us that are here in this group, in this tribe, we're here to finish our work, but hold space for the collective, because it's going to be shaken. We're all part of one collective consciousness, and now it's being super disrupted. So here's where we use all of the tools that we have been offering for almost 3 years now. What can you do? Work with the plants, work with your grounding, work with any spiritual practices that you gather along the way.
And why is all of this happening now? Well, the veil is being lifted, and the veil is being lifted because the magic, the energy that was protecting and hiding the perpetrators behind all of this has been removed. That has been going on now for most of this year, and really, to be honest, since 2020, when a collective call went out on the winter solstice, that powerful winter solstice alignment we had in 2020. And that's really when the higher dimensional beings, the intergalactic space forces, our cosmic star families were able to really come down now and assist us. It's been a process. There's been a lot to clear through. An incredible amount of work has been done. I mean, way more than most people have any idea about. But that means we're now at the point where we can do this work, why this has to be lifted. And it's part of the process. We have to look into the depths of the experience, to confront it, to see it, to name it, and then to release it. And that is exactly what is going on right now with the entertainment industry, also with some of the situations happening in parts of the world to do with the wars. It's all interconnected. The whole thing is part of one big structure. We can call it the anti-grid, we can call it the matrix, the inversion of the true blueprint of Earth, of Gaia, which is really why we're all here. What we are doing here on planet Earth to release this has a macro effect at the universal level. That's how powerful it is. That's how powerful the beings we are to have signed up to come down and be the participants in this process.
And so we're seeing what has been happening here in 3D. But all of this darkness has a core to the astrals. So in the astrals, there are many entities that feed on all of these horrible things that have been happening here with the children, with women, with everything that has been going on and where people are getting to hear about. So we've started the astral clearings and teachings. It's been 2 weeks already of Sundays of clearings. We already touched on the first week on the emotional astral entities, and that was the first one we talked about. And on the second week, last Sunday, we talked about the toxicity, the shedding of the offered medications, and many other things. Now, this coming Sunday, we're coming into another big topic, which is astral implants and ET technology, which is a huge topic and is also connected to the astrals and to our emotions and how the programs keep us in a loop where we can't get out of. But we are getting to clear that part as well.
Right, so the first week, as Bella said, we looked at what we call the emotional astral entities. These are the very fallen aspects of some of our cosmic ancestors who got themselves into trouble and then brought it down here onto planet Earth. And this is the energies that have been affecting some of the poor unfortunates in the entertainment industry. These are the beings working through the perpetrators for these poor victims. So we have to really hold that energy and understanding in our heart. We were clearing those on the first week, but we also cleared them last week. We'll be clearing them again on Sunday, and we're going to be clearing them every week. Every Sunday, we go through the same 30-minute process of a series of protocols, very powerful, working with quantum intelligence, working with all kinds of quantum beings, particularly plant beings, but also angelic beings and many other higher dimensional assistants to clear the fields of each and every person who comes into the space for the Sunday clearing. Now, we do it over Zoom, we do it as a live call, and we have a visual with many of our beautiful brothers and sisters who are stepping up to do this work, not just for themselves, but actually for people around them and also at the collective level. Incredibly powerful. And so we do that every week, same protocols, because even in between one Sunday to the next, we still get infected sometimes or contaminated when we go into dense spaces. Now, we have the tools and the process to clear ourselves immediately. Perhaps not all of you have that, which is why we keep repeating the process each week. But each week, we also go into depth and do a teaching on one aspect of the clearing process. So as Bella said, the first week was dealing with these kinds of, we can say, lower frequency entities. The second was also about the toxicity of the shedding, of the offered medications, what's in them, where did they come from, how do they affect us, and then which plants can we work with at the physical level and the emotional, spiritual level, we can say the quantum level. This week we're coming into looking at all the things that Bella's just said, which actually also work in conjunction with the things from the previous 2 weeks. Nothing is isolated here. They're all working in tandem, which is why we've been in this kind of, we can say, slave system for the last couple of millennia. That is now collapsing at a high speed. It's going to be startling for many people. It's going to be shocking for many people. For those of us who've already looked into these realms, done this work within ourselves, because we're all part of this process too. Everybody signed up to be a part of this process, which is where we really get to show our fifth dimensional self and understanding that there is no judgment about any of this. It's part of the collective clearing. So we have to be in our hearts, we have to be with compassion, and we need to show up. That's a big part of it.
So this is a short video. It's an invitation if you want to join us for one session or for the next 8 sessions of astral clearings. It's on Sundays. We're doing it at 10 a.m. Central Time. And what we have here is that once we clear the astrals within ourselves and we put more conscious awareness on what has been going on, the faster it will clear, and all of that information is sent to the unified field, because the collective gets that information, intel, and understands we all need to clear this now.
Right, and it might sound a little harsh, but resistance is futile. This is the process, this is what needs to happen, and it's going to happen fast, and then it's done. It's very much like the energy of the angelic realms or the Artemisias when they do their healings. It's like we want to keep it as short as possible. We don't want to extend the suffering. We've all suffered enough, particularly over the last few years, and the suffering needs to come to an end, and we can all play a part in that. We have our roles, all of you watching this have your roles too. I've been blown away by the amount of warrior brothers and sisters who showed up for personal sessions with both of us recently, the energy and the heart to show up in this moment and do the work. I'm always blown away with love and respect for those brothers and sisters, and that's the invitation to each and every one of you. Hopefully you'll join us on the Sunday sessions to participate, but if not, I'm sure that you're also participating in your own way at the personal and the collective level. Holding space, doing your work. The most powerful thing we can do is actually heal ourselves. Clear the density out of our field, because when we clear that density, we can receive the incredible amount of light from the photon belt with all of these light codes, which is also another way of activating our cosmic selves, but also with our soul, the sun. He is the conductor of this process. And he is showing us with his carefully timed solar flares and solar storms how much needs to be shifted, because when that light comes in, it transmutes the density for each and every one of us, but also at the collective level. So everybody, all the beings, all the planets, all the star beings, we're all playing a part in this. It's that important. When you understand the importance of the process here on Earth, you want to be a part of it. You signed up for this popcorn moment, as some people have been saying. And yes, the movie is a little scary right now, but it's still a movie. It's just a 4th dimensional projection. Once you understand that from the higher dimensions, you realize that it really can't hurt you, because you're an eternal being.
And we know that many of the people that watch us here on this video have been doing a lot of work for years. Many of us for years. Imagine all of these new people that haven't looked into any of this information, and suddenly they get all of this amount of domino effects of all of their reality collapsing. The people that they have been their idols, and they love them, and they pay high expensive tickets for them, and because it's all connected, you know, they buy into all of the different pieces of the puzzle of that system, and so all of that is going to collapse for them. So we're here to hold space, and we're here to keep on clearing that astral aspect and our emotional fields, and keeping on getting strong and empowered. That's what we have. Our second part of the video is talking about what we have been offering also for a few months now, which is the navigation guide to quantum consciousness. We needed a navigation guide, especially for now, for the moment of the storm. We have just recorded chapter 11, which is a very powerful chapter. It is the power of liberation, and we touched on all of those topics. So congratulations to all of those that have been following the path and have made it to chapter 11. It is a progressive path, but once you get to chapter 11, it's that moment of full liberation, which is the one we're living now collectively.
Right, and of course, if you've been watching our other regular show, The Quantum Compass, you'll know that we talk about each of the 13-day wave spells. This is the same process. It's mirroring the 13 tones. So yesterday was day 2 of the Blue Storm, the day of the challenge. I think we can see from what's in the new space, the collective narrative, what the storm is, what it's going to bring up. So we have this wave spell of the storm to really catalyze and start working on the release process. That's why we timed the release of chapter 11, the power of liberation, to coincide with that. Everything that is being done right now by people like us and many other physical beings and non-physical beings has been absolutely precisely timed for this moment. No more can kicking, no more saying it's next year, it's 2030, 2050, another 1,000 years. It's now. And it needs to be now. Why do we want to wait? We want to become the beings that we originally signed up to be here on the New Earth timeline. So it's actually really exciting. But it's like that moment in the medicine ceremony. You just have to go through it a little bit and then it's out. That's the collective process. And if we can all hold space and understand that, then actually things are going to change quickly. But one other thing I just want to add, Bella, is that be careful absorbing too much of the narratives. Who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? It's kind of gone off the charts now. Without the really, really high dimensional perspectives, you're trying to look at it through the fog down here on planet Earth, you're going to get twisted out of shape because the good guys suddenly seem to be saying the opposite of what you thought and so on. So don't put people on pedestals, politicians, entertainment people, even gurus, teachers. Take everything down to the personal level, be discerning, work with your body medicine, work with what feels right for you. Doesn't mean don't watch the movie. The movie could be quite spectacular, but don't necessarily get too involved in it. See it as a movie.
Don't get attached emotionally.
Don't get attached to it. Yeah, that's the point.
Especially emotionally. Try to be objective about what the movie is showing you. We know that we are being helped in this process. We are very close to the final liberation moment. So this is a moment of the storm where everything gets really chaotic. The chaos energy is going to continue up to the end of November, that's why we're doing the astral clearings up to that point. But this is one of the strongest moments when the domino effect starts.
Right, and if you just think about it, from the 3D perspective of how a storm plays out, yes, in the moment of the storm, in the eye of the storm, it's chaos, there's stuff flying around, maybe even there's collateral damage, all kinds of things are going on. But it doesn't stay like that forever. The storm abates, it calms down, then we get to see the damage, and then we start to fix and repair things. It's the same process, whether it's at the weather level or the energetic level, it's all happening right now. And, we've been working for a long time, myself and Bella, and many of you out there too, but on QPW, we've been working to put these systems into place, these progressive steps, whether it's the the navigation guide to quantum consciousness, or even another step further is the mind, time and magic, which is looking at why this is all happening now. What are the synchronicities? What are the deltas and the loops? How is the astrology all playing a part of this? Many of us have been putting together a big, we can say jigsaw really, understanding what it's all about. And with the clarity that has come, now we can see this is the moment that we're about to shift. It's really exciting, to be honest, but we just have to do a little bit of work right now for the next couple of weeks, and then I think we're going to be through the worst of it, Bella.
Yes, we've been waiting for this moment, and we knew it was going to be tough, and it's still going to be tough for a little while. That's what we need to hold space, be strong, because at the end of it, we're going to be super empowered and finally get to create our new Earth that we've so been talking about.
Well, and also if you think about it, there might be some weird things that appear in the news, but if we're multidimensional beings from the cosmos, then there are many things that really logically we should expect to start seeing, including our off-planet brothers and sisters. So these are all of the exciting things that we shouldn't be afraid of, and if we're starting to feel fear in those things, perhaps we're taking our information from the wrong places. The best thing to do really is to take the shoes off, go and sit under a nice tree, sink into the ground and connect to that part of yourself that is connected to all that is. And
but we do talk in chapter 11 about the discernment, because not all of the extraterrestrial beings are our friends. Some are, some aren't. So there is a mixed bag there, and we need to have discernment within ourselves. We need to be super clear within ourselves, because they can use those emotional backdoors and limiting beliefs and cognitive dissonance as well. So that's part of what we do discuss in chapter 11.
Right, and it's also what we're going to be focusing on the teaching part of this week's clearings, because these insertions into our field that create these programs, these circuit breakers, these loops, implants, etc., they are what keep us stuck in these places of trauma where these other types of energies and entities actually get to do their work. So we have to clear all of them. We can't just say, I fancy clearing this bit and not that bit. I don't like that bit. It's like, well, maybe you're being affected, maybe you're not being affected. But at the collective level, we are all somehow being affected by these things. So, we've got a really beautiful group that are coming every week. Some people dropping in on a weekly basis. We've got quite a strong group now who have signed up for the whole process. Many of them have been with us for a while. Really strong warriors who've done lots of work with us, working with the plants. And that's the other thing, Bella, we work with the plants in between every session ourselves, right? Every day we're taking different medicines to keep ourselves in a grounded, still open space, still within our hearts, but also with our eyes wide open, seeing what is going on around us and actually being, as like Bella said, very discerning about what is coming to our field and how we are processing that information, or which beings we're communicating with, because these are tricky times.
So do drop into your heart a lot of compassion for everything that is going on, especially because lots of victims, as I said before, will be exposed as well.
Yeah.
So and maybe that will awaken a lot of other things within ourselves and the collective. So drop into your heart. Today is the day of service within the moon of service. So this is our service for the collective. We're doing our work, clearing the astrals, and offering what we have, what we know how to do. And so you yourselves can also do something for somebody else today and within the rest of this month.
Right, and that's it really for this week, everybody. We really appreciate all of the support that you've been giving us over the last few weeks. I really appreciate the emails, the comments. It does make a difference. You know, sometimes this work is tough even for people like us. And we also need a bit of energetic support, and to know that we're not just throwing, as we say, something into the air to disappear. It's really validating for us to get the responses. And also, we always say this, but please hit like and subscribe on this video, because it means the information gets seen by more people, and we're beating the algorithmic systems that perhaps don't want this to be shared. So thanks again, everybody, for the support. Thanks for the messages, and keep on keeping on.
Riders on the storm.
Alrighty, see you next week, everybody.
Bye.